What is up? Welcome to the Existential Stoic podcast. Do you feel like you have too much stuff? Do you look around, your room, and you just have no place for new things when you get them, or you just can't find what you need? Well, today you're in luck because we're going to talk about how to tidy up. I'm Danny here with my buddy Randy. What's up, Randy?
Yo, Danny,
Did you ever have too much stuff in your life, or do you have too much stuff in your life?
has my life ever been a mess? A
Yeah,
resounding yes.
yes,
I
totally.
actually, I was actually thinking also of this on more of like a philosophical level, not just stuff in your life, but like, is your life a mess?
Yeah,
You
it's
need
a
to
good
tidy
one.
up your life.
Oh, that's a good one too. I didn't even think of it that way because it's early and I wasn't really
Mm-hmm.
thinking clearly. But yeah, that's a good way to look at it too.
Yeah.
Like, is your well, it works both ways, I think, though, because I think if I think I think in some sense our physical reality matches our philosophical reality, right? Like our beliefs, the meaning we put in the world and all, it's all tied up with the crap that we have in our lives too.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if your room's a hot mess, your brain's probably a hot mess too.
Yeah, right. It's true though. Oh, it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we each have three tips. Hopefully, this will help you clean out both your room and your mental state. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna go first. So my first one is ask what do I really need? And I think this is important because so I went through. I don't know about I remember when I was first went to college. I moved like every year, and when I first went, I remember I had all this stuff, and it was a pain in the ass getting everything in and all. And I thought I needed it, and then it turns out like I didn't use like 50% of it. So I just started trying to just eliminate things over time. It was hard at first, and what really helped me was actually when I drove home from grad school because I just wanted to get out of there. And I was like, I just gave away stuff and threw stuff out and just totally like eliminated most of my stuff. And
Mm.
it helped. And then I realized I don't need it. It helped a lot. Like it just that helped, but it was like a cleansing thing to do, just like to let go of the attachment to
Yeah, that's a really good one. And moving is a great way to figure out what you actually
it.
want and
Yeah,
what you don't. Because I
does
did the
help.
same thing when I moved with my brother. We basically sold everything and then just moved. Because nowadays you can buy everything. And if
Yeah.
you can't have it right now, you can get it, order it and have it in the next day or two. So it's not like you even need to wait 2 weeks to get it.
No.
Yeah. Out of all the
It's
out
just
of
so much easier to get there.
all the stuff that I have ever sold and gotten rid of, there's only two things that I ever regret out of the hundreds of thousands of things. One is a guitar that I sold because they just don't make that model anymore, and I think I'm somewhat
Uh,
nostalgic of it. But like I'm sure I could find another. And two is a couch that's like because of production line stuff nowadays, you just can't get it anymore. So like I the
yeah.
or it took like the last time I went to go order that couch, it was like, oh yeah, it's like a year and a half to get it. I was like, what?
For a
What is this
couch?
made from? Yeah.
Yeah.
But everything else,
It's a really
everything
hard
else is
material to source.
yeah. You got to get it just right. Yeah, so my first one is similar but a little bit different. Get rid of non-essentials. So like the way that I look at this is like when I look at the stuff that I have around me, I want to make sure it's stuff that I actually use. And like instead of having
Yeah.
because for the longest time I had all these things. And even like a guitar was one of these things that I always had because I had this dream of being like a rock star guitarist that was just, very far off. But like getting rid of the
Still working on
guitars,
it.
yeah, getting rid of the guitars in my life has freed me up because I know that like I've been playing guitar for 25 years and I'm still kind of like a okay hobbyist guitarist. And it's like if it was really important to me, I would have been really good. 25 years is a long freaking time to play. So like getting rid of it just cleared space for other stuff that I do want to be the rock star of.
No, I like that one. I did the same thing with my drums too, because I had them for a long time. And if I really wanted to get better, I would have put more time in. I was a hobbyist, that's it. And did I really need them? Yeah. It's like it
Mm-hmm.
gets to that point. I think the hard thing too, and I think the essential thing is a really good way to look at it, is like we attach sentimental value to stuff all the time. And it makes it very hard to get rid of it because we think we really, really need it because of this thing or that or it has this value. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't have that value. That value is just things you made up. So think about what's really essential. And I like what you said, like, do I really use it? Like right now, all the stuff I have, I use every week pretty much. Except for maybe a couple of things, but they're things that I need that I use, I just don't happen to use that often, but like most of it I use all the time. So it's like it's important. I need it. It's not extraneous extra stuff. So yeah, essentials is an awesome way to think. And it makes it easier to live. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
My next one is 1 year rule. Like if it hasn't come up in a year, you don't need it. It's a good
Mm-hmm.
way to look at it, I think, because frankly, like I mean, I still struggle with there's still a few things I have that struggle with this that are like, like sentimental stuff that like I still have lingering around that I've been meaning to get rid of, but like that I haven't looked at in like, a long time. And it's like, do I really even need this around? What's it doing for me? Am I actually, is that just holding on to junk? Because like, I think sometimes too, I wonder if that stuff holds us back as well. I think like clutter and like hanging on to the past like that can also really hold you back by keeping you in the past rather than letting you go forward into the future or like to allow yourself space to do new things. I mean, tying that more into like the philosophical side of it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like along with the time frame type thing, you can all just take a look. Like, is there dust collected on it? If there's dust on it, get rid of it. And like a lot of people fear getting rid of stuff because they're like, well, what if someday I want to use it? And it's like, well, you can go buy it again. If you really want to do it, like that would be a test that like you got rid of it and you were wrong about that and you had to go buy it again, you know?
What if Antiques Roadshow comes around
I
and I
know,
didn't know
right?
that it was worth a ton of money?
Oh my gosh, I know somebody who's like a hoarder and that's their thing. Is like literally every expensive thing that they find, they just threw it away. Like we went to some like silks museum and they're like, that's the thing that I had that you made me get rid of this time. And I'm like, okay, right. That one
Sure
there,
it is.
that one there, worth that much
That
money.
in the
Sure, that's the
museum.
one. Uh-huh. Yeah. So anyways,
Oh
my next
God.
my next one is if it bugs you, address it. So this is kind of like tidying up around the house. Like sometimes with like relationships, one person is a bit messier than the other person. One person leaves their socks on the ground, the other person doesn't like it, or one person doesn't clean up their dishes, the other person doesn't like it. Well, guess what? If it bugs you, you don't need to nag them. You just clean it up
No,
because guess what? As soon as you clean it up, then the world
it's
is
gone.
right. Like if you hate socks being
Yeah.
on the floor and every time you see socks on the floor, it messes with your mind, just pick up the socks. It takes less than a minute.
Yeah.
You put them away and you know what? You feel better afterwards. Like I do this stuff all the time where like, I see a piece of litter on the ground and it bugs me. And I could just be like, oh, what's wrong with the world? Can't people use trash cans? And I'm just like, oh, wait, I'm here. I got two hands. All right, pick it up, put it in the
Yeah.
trash. Done. I feel better. This is awesome.
Yeah. And then you're helping out with the situation, right? You're actually actively making it better. I think that's a really good one too about like whether you want to play the role of the victim or whether you want to play the role of an active life and actually an intentional life. Because we all do that where we see stuff and we're like, oh, everybody's messed up. This is horrible. People just never change, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, you're right there. You could be part of the solution or part of the problem.
Or
So be
here's
part of the
another one.
solution.
At the gym, in the locker room, somebody leaves a towel on the bench. And I'm like, what the F
Oh
is
God.
wrong with these people? Can't they return the towels? Or I could just pick up the towel and return it. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah. And like even better, sometimes if you're lucky enough to see the person, you can address it directly and say like, "Come on, can you now put this away?" You don't have to be mean about it. You can just be, and not start something. But like, I think it's so easy, and but yeah, be part of the solution. I like that one. That's really good. My last one is remember stuff isn't your life, and I think this is really important because I think especially in like, I know, especially in the U.S., like we get trapped in this where people like they wait for the new thing to drop. They're like, waiting for, the next tech gadget or whatever, or the next Nike shoe and stuff. And they get so caught up in like defining their life by like the objects they possess, by the things they have. Like, it's a sense of who you are and all. And I think if you do that too much, you lose yourself because you're defining yourself by other people's ideas. You're not actually defining yourself on your own. You're waiting for people to come up with creative things that somehow say something about you rather than just doing it. And I think it's a really messed up way to think. It allows others to control your life rather than you controlling it and you determining what matters and what's valuable. So really remember that stuff just isn't your life. Like, and I think this applies to everything. Like I know, like, give me an example. Like we had a period of time where like a lot of friends passed away and I had a lot of stuff from them that I was carrying around. And like, I remember one of the best things I did was I got rid of most of it. I kept a few very important things, like one for each person, and that's what I kept. And the rest I got rid of because I realized it was just like I was just lugging stuff around and lugging around the past, and it wasn't helping me. So I just got rid of it, kept the things that really mattered, and that was it. And because the rest of the stuff isn't them. It's not, it's not the person. It's not my memories. It wasn't helping like anything like that. So yeah,
Yeah, I
good one.
think you mentioned a good point there that you get to keep the memories. Like just because you get rid of the item,
Yeah,
it doesn't take away the
yeah.
memories. It doesn't take away all the good times that you had. Yeah. So that's a good one, definitely. My last one is for how to tidy up. Hire someone. Like so many people are just like, I got to do this on my own. And this works both for the physical and for the mental. Like if you live in a house that's just an absolute pigsty, hire somebody to clean it up for you. Like, sure, it's
There's like a
a
million
little,
services.
yeah, sure, it's like a little bit pricey, but the peace of mind you get from that, totally worth it. Or, if you're a mess mentally, hire a professional to help you work through your problems. That's what they're there for, you know? So those are just a couple things. Hire someone because maybe somebody's better at it than you.
I like that. Yeah. I would add to that too, like find a good friend. Like, somebody that you trust that can help you with it too, and that's willing to help you, both either with physical stuff or with mental stuff. I think both are doable.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody you can talk to or somebody that can just help you like address the situation and be like, dude, you don't need all this stuff. Like we can get rid of some of it, and at least start the process.
Yeah.
Because I think it helps a lot. It makes you feel, and like you said, it does. I think it really does bring clarity when you get rid of all the clutter. You feel better and you feel like you can move forward. I really think it does lock us in the past and makes
Mm-hmm.
us unable to, really become our better selves or become like who we want to become because we're just tied down by all this garbage around us.
Yeah, and for anybody who wants a deeper dive, not much deeper because it's a very short book, but the book Goodbye Things, I found that to be really, really awesome in addressing getting rid of stuff. Because I also read the
Who's
the
that by?
magic no idea. It's too Goodbye
Somebody?
Things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because I've also read like the life-changing magic of tidying up, and that was a bit too like in depth. That was like I don't need like how to fold my clothes step by step. Like that's not what I'm interested in. But
Uh,
the Goodbye Things is more of like a philosophy about kind of getting the big idea behind it, so then you can get on board with it. And I like that a lot better.
yeah, I'd also recommend check out. There's some really good documentaries I saw on minimalism. On I
Mm.
think it was on Netflix. Had a good one. That was a while ago, but look them up because there's some really good stuff out there on minimalism, and it's it. I think once you start thinking that way, you don't have to be completely minimalist, like with nothing, but like it really helps you think about like how much junk do I have that I don't need, and especially because all of us, once you like stay somewhere for an extended period of time, I learned that the hard way when I went to like had an apartment for multiple years. Like you just acquire junk that you don't need, dude, so
Well,
fast.
yeah, if you think about it on a grand scale, like for tens of thousands of years, humans were this nomadic people that like really didn't have that much. Would just move around from
Yeah.
place to place, live off the land. Only in the past 100 or so years did we become so like stuff oriented.
So it's only been the past 100 years or so that we could actually produce it that fast and that cheaply that we could have that much.
Hmm.
You made a table. It took a while.
Yeah, and
You had
then
to go
there's just
do all that
master
stuff.
marketers nowadays who are just amazing at pushing the buttons to make you feel like a piece of shit, so you need to buy something to feel better.
Yeah, feel better. Exactly. Well, there you have it. How to fix your life by tidying up or something along those lines. Check us out on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Please like, subscribe, and definitely share. It helps us out a lot. We will be back later this week with a full length episode. Until then, later, Andy.
Later, Danny.